For more than 15 months, Gaza has stood at the brink, cities reduced to rubble, families torn apart, hunger everywhere. But beneath the echoes of bombardment, negotiated words were being shaped. A fragile ceasefire, whispered in meetings in Doha, Cairo, under pressure from foreign capitals, began to take form. Mediators from Qatar, Egypt, and the United States proposed a truce, an end to the fighting in staged phases. First, for a period of weeks, a quiet, or at least less violent Gaza. Then, hostages released, prisoners exchanged. Aid convoys promised freely without needless obstruction. A partial redeployment of Israeli forces from the densest urban zones. All this, many hoped, would lead to something more lasting. In the first phase, Hamas agreed to free dozens of Israeli captives, women, children, civilians, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. The deal would begin with smaller, symbolic acts to build trust. Israel, in turn, would allow passage of humanitarian aid and begin pulling back its forces from major population centers inside Gaza. These steps, small yet heavy with meaning, were meant to signal that another path might be possible. As negotiators worked through the night, promises were drafted and redrafted. Israel demanded guarantees that Hamas would not rearm, that tunnels and weapon stocks would be dismantled or at least monitored. Hamas resisted total surrender, insisting instead on political guarantees, safe passage, enough support to rebuild shattered lives, and oversight by neutral or international parties. Still, critics warned, ceasefire is not peace. The deal might collapse at any point. Aid routes might be blocked again under security pretexts. Hostages might be returned slowly or not fully. Internal divisions in Israel's government could reject any agreement seen as yielding too much. Hamas could see ceasefire as breathing space to regroup rather than disarm. Despite the risks, the agreement moved forward. Live hostages were released. The first truce period began. The flow of aid increased. Checkpoints relaxed somewhat. Eyes turned to Cairo and Doha, to monitors from Egypt, Qatar, the United Nations, to ensure what was promised was delivered. And yet, every moment of calm carried the weight of hesitation. The promise of more exchanges, of further withdrawals, of reconstruction, rested on fragile trust. If just one party faltered, or if violence resumed, the entire framework risked collapse. In the end, the ceasefire showed what diplomacy could still achieve in a place where dialogue had for long been overshadowed by bombs. It showed that small acts, the release of hostages, letting in food, stepping back from invasion of dense neighborhoods, can carry the hope of greater peace. But it also made clear that unless all sides commit fully, unless every clause is enforced, and unless the political will matches the moral imperative, this truce may be only another breath, not a lasting peace.